Hello everyone, welcome back to another watercolor tutorial. We are painting this beautiful photo that I took a few days ago. I'm filming, today is the first week of November, and this was taken a couple of days ago. It was a gorgeous day. We went for a canoe ride and I want to paint it. So that's what we're gonna do. So I've sketched out like a very light version of what I want to paint here, but you can just follow along. So I'm first going to paint the sky. I'm going to have a really nice blue at the top, sort of a sky blue, maybe a little bit duller than that. And that sky blue is going to turn into like the sky here turns into this beautiful purplish pink color. So that's what I'm gonna add. And then finally it turns into a gorgeous yellow. I do want to keep that without pigment because there's a section here that I'm going to be painting blue. So and then I'm going to have this reflecting onto the water. So I'm also trying to leave my canoe unpainted as well. And the blue that's being reflected is a lot darker than the sky blue because it's water. So here we have a very light version of what I want it to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on another layer because I want this to be as vibrant as the photo, which never happens, but I can try. I will just keep piling these layers on until I get what I want. So I'm gonna let this dry and then I'm gonna apply another layer on top of that because when this dries, it's going to dry very light and I want it to be very vibrant, so I'm just gonna keep piling those layers on like I said. But this top is supposed to be a little more blue than it is. It's kind of turning into this purple situation. But it'll do. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry and we'll come back and do another layer. Okay, so you can see this situation happened, and this is because I put clear water on this canoe part. If I didn't, the rest of it would kind of crinkle and dry around it because there was no watercolor on this section. But that's okay, we're gonna cover this up with this next layer, so no need to fret. Okay, that is very vibrant. That's a little more vibrant than I was actually anticipating. So I'm gonna go over the bottom because the bottom is water. So it shouldn't be that bright. It'll have to do. It is what it is. So we're gonna let this dry and then we will come back and continue on. Okay, so I think this is dry, I hope it is. And we are going to paint our background, trees and all the beautiful details right now. So I have painted, I left this the way it was because I wanted to paint it blue and I realized I forgot to. So that's a little bit problematic. We'll fill it in later, I guess. So I'm gonna have one kind of background horizon line and then one that overlaps with this one. So this one is just going to be a bunch of trees that kind of come up like this. I'm going to obviously paint them a little bit more detailed shortly. I just want to get the bulk of it in. Because I have all these tiny, you know, detailed trees that don't have leaves on them. So I'm painting all of the branches. In my painting, there's a lot of these tree branches like this, but that is too time consuming. So I'm gonna add in some pine trees just to fill in the gaps using a technique that I kind of discovered on my own, and I released a video on it already, so please go check it out. I encourage you to. Okay, that's good enough for me. I'm kind of over that part. So now I'm gonna do the kind of, not the foreground, but it's the part that's in front of this horizon line. So I'm gonna take a lot more black this time. This one I kind of used a faded out black because I wanted it to look farther away from the viewer, and I think I achieved that. But this outcrop here is going to be a lot closer to the viewer. So I'm going to use black. And this kind of fades into rocks over here, which I'll get to in a moment. In my photo, I actually do have pine trees growing here, which I'm gonna switch to this brush for a moment just to get the top details down. And then I'll switch to this one. I think I should film an updated pine tree technique painting video. I have one out and it's very popular, but it has trees that I use so many more pine tree techniques now, and I'm pretty sure you guys would appreciate it. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do that. And then we might get lucky. So I have my two background pine trees there, which is great. So then I've got this, like, it's this rocky outcrop over here. realize there's a lot more going on over here. I don't know, I've got some weird vegetation coming out here. But I do want to get these rocks down. I'm gonna pick up my size 1. I'm just kind of alternating brushes right now. So there's rocks here, and because they're so far away, I'm making them very, very small, as you can see. And as I get closer to the viewer, I'll make them a little bit bigger. They're not even rocks. I mean, in the picture they're supposed to be rocks, but they don't look like rocks because they're so far away. Like, I'm doing that intentionally. I'm avoiding painting too many details there. So here you can see that I'm getting progressively bigger with my rocks. There's a huge one over here. And I'm going to create a little shadow coming from it. Another one from this one, and then from these guys as well. Luckily, these ones don't have to be very defined because they're so far away. Ugh. And I've got, I don't want this to, So adding these little details underneath the outcrop, it just makes it look a little bit more realistic. It adds some nifty details. So that's why I'm adding these little things down here. I'm gonna add a huge rock somewhere, even though it's not in my photo. You don't have to follow the photo completely. But I'll add this massive beast over here. And the shadow. Maybe another one down here. See, that is sorry, I can't speak English. That looks really nice. I like these features here. I kind of wish I didn't include this canoe because this just adds more work for me, but it is what it is. I'm going to continue with the details up here. I do want to add the trees, so I'll quickly show you the photo again. This is where I'm at. I want to add all these tree clusters going up. I still don't know what I'm going to do with this section, but I will figure it out shortly. So I'm taking black here and I'm extending it. So I'm gonna paint these big, beautiful trees with these big, beautiful trunks. And luckily they reach far beyond my photo. So you want to make these trees a lot darker. Like they're supposed to be in front of the pine trees, and you make them look like they're in front of the pine trees by painting them darker. But you can keep splitting off the branches, or you can just paint multiple trees. I'm going to paint multiple trees anyways, because that's how, like, I have, my photo has a lot of trees. So obviously you want the branches to get thinner as they get, as you go towards the top. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm trying to think of things to say here, so it's not just pure silence. And the more of these branches that you start adding, like especially when they're on the thinner side, it really starts looking like a more realistic tree. And thank goodness that this picture was taken in November. Otherwise I'd have to paint so many darn leaves on these trees. Now I can just paint twigs. So there were a cluster of smaller trees down here. And these ones, I don't think they reach all the way to the top. There's a few of them that just kind of go upwards like this. And they're quite straight, which is interesting. Now, in my picture, you could see like infinite tiny, tiny little branches. And I'm going to paint a few more than I usually do, but I don't think I want to get into that level of detail. Like that is a lot. It's basically just a web of tiny branches. Okay, so as these black rocks dried, unfortunately they lost their intensity. So I'm just going over them with black again, like a lot of black and very little water to try and intensify that. Okay, it's getting there, it's getting there. I still have to do something about quite a few things here. I'm just going to go over some of these kind of foliage sections to darken up the pigment there as well. Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna tackle this thing over here. I think what I'm just gonna do is fill it in with the yellow, because if I put blue there, it'll just look weird, I think. Hold on, maybe. Let me try. Let me try the blue. See what it looks like. It's actually not too bad. And I can sort of blend this yellow into it. It's the beauty of cotton paper. So that it looks like I intended to do this. That does not look bad at all. Nice. Okay. That's one problem solved. It just looks like there's another lake back there or something. Now the canoe. I don't want to do the canoe, but we have to do the canoe. So, or we can just put a giant rock here. That's another option. And it's a very tempting one, if I do say so myself. But no, we're going to do it. We're going to stick to our guns and just, goodness me, complete this darn thing. So my canoe is this greenish color. It's like this deep green. So I'm going to try and get that same color. And just paint it on. Hope for the best. And I kind of penciled mine out first, my canoe, so that I had a rough guide. But my recommendation is don't even bother with the canoe. Sometimes canoes just ruin things. They ruin paintings. Okay. So that'll do there. And then the inside of my canoe is this strange beige color. Not even beige, it's almost white. It's almost white. So I am going to just paint it white. And because my paintbrush is tinted a color, it's going to fill it in with like a nice neutral color, I think, I hope. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm leaving this part white because that's going to be the kind of metal part. And I'm trying to blend out this yellow. Now I'm going to make this part darker and hopefully hide that yellow. And by making it darker, I'm basically just making it look like there's a shadow from the sun, since it's hitting it from the opposite side. All right, my camera died there. So we got to work quickly to get this canoe all finished up. So I want to darken this portion because it's furthest away from the sun. So I'm going to do just that. Add black. over here. I'm making all kinds of errors here. And we want this area to be nice and dark too. As a reflection of this canoe. Or not a reflection, but the shadow. So that's what we added there. And now I'm gonna add the kind of, it's supposed to be these silver parts, silver rails, if you will. So they're on both sides. So I'm just using gray watercolor here, and I'm adding the silver rails to the side, so I'm just following the green. Like so, and then it has sort of this thing going on over here. I just realized I have to add the seat. Oh, Julia, Julia. Why did I put this canoe in? So I think my seat is about here. Kind of goes like this. And I know it kind of looks like it's floating, but we're gonna fix that because we want to make the seat look like it's in the canoe. So that's why we put it down, so it looks like there's depth. And I have this, in my canoe, I have this little silver metal piece that holds up the seat. So that's what I've painted here. And it's a little bit of a different color than the inside of the canoe. So I am just kind of filling that in, like so. And the shadowed portion that we filled in earlier has unfortunately dried already. So I'm gonna try and add that again. It's faded. It's a little bit better there. It looks a little more realistic that way, right? And then you can kind of see the cross beam. I'm not going to paint that. That is just too complex. This is enough, I think. Just a cute little canoe floating around. Not a care in the world. I'm okay with this. So the other thing that we're going to add, I want to add something in the sky. So we're going to add some birds, as I do in many of my landscape paintings. So it's very simple. It's just kind of the shape of an M, like that. And some of them can be in a V shape. You can make some of them smaller so they look much farther away. Like that. I think that's enough birds. Enough birds coming to poop on you in the canoe. Alright guys, I like how this turned out. I hope you did too. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Just also hit like on the video, it really helps me out. And subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these kinds of watercolor landscapes. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.